Hey everyone, it's Konrad. I'm back with you again to tell you about the FUNL conference. This video is about the Freedom Under Natural Law 4 conference that I have been invited to. So, quickly, I want to tell everyone about that. I've mentioned it briefly, but not really as a standalone video, so I wanted to make sure to have it out there. You know, if you don't tell people about what matters to you, how are they ever going to know, right? So, this is the idea to really make sure everybody knows, when and where to watch it. You've heard from me maybe that I'll be giving a presentation there about music. It's called The Sonic Divorce, man's separation from nature's music. And that's music is a thing that's very important to me. Also, this event is very important to me. It's the first conference that I've been invited to since I started making videos. So I'll tell you a bit about the conference and a bit about me because this goes together. And I've kind of made that vow when I started making these videos is that, this stuff with freedom and natural law, it's going to go as I go. It's, that work is not separate from the work of building yourself up and developing yourself, trying to fix all of the issues and problems about me and just becoming a better person. That's what it's all about, right? So you can't disconnect one from the other. So the first video I ever made was March of 2022. It was a presentation there. Now it's interesting because the first time I ever recorded music, the first time I got in front of a microphone just like this and did a verse, it was February 16th, 17th of 2019. This was like 6 years ago. And I recorded that. That was the first time. Before that, I've only freestyled with friends in the car and did something like that. Unless you count when I was in front of my Holy Communion after party, and then the kids were doing poems, so I grabbed the microphone and I recited a little bit, a couple of lyrics of of a rap song I was listening to at the time. But we won't include that. So when I did that, 2 weeks after that, I had a huge car crash. I almost died. I had my spleen removed, liver lacerated, collapsed lung. My elbow was broken. They were able to put it back together. Like 2 weeks after I finally got to recording music. And it's just interesting to me that, of course, I recovered from that and then started recording more music. And then I had 2 more car accidents a year later, but that was... and then really after that, when I recovered from those, I started changing my life. That's when I started changing my life and recording different kinds of music. And recently I've tried to make the music reflect the same kind of things I talk about on my channel, right? Not just talking about partying and guns, So it's just interesting to me that it's 3 years from my first piece of music that I made to my first video, and then it will be another 3 years from that first presentation I did, my first video I ever did on this channel, Truth and Law, to now my first presentation that I'm giving, as part of a conference in front of people, my first legit presentation. That's going to be February 22nd and 23rd, and I've already mentioned it. It's called The Sonic Divorce. Really, what I wanted this video to be about is I'll just talk about the organizers. Introduce you to them because, first thing I'm going to start with is thanking the organizers for having me, Chris Jansen, Will Keller, and Leslie Powers. They're putting this on. Leslie Powers, I'll start with her. She's a clinical social worker and a counselor. Her work is also in the mind and psychology, and she is the actual one who reached out and invited me, so I'll talk about her first. I've actually... there's a video that they've invited me, her and Derek Bartolocelli they have a show called Dissolving the Divide, and we did a show about climate change, the climate change conundrum. You can find that on here. So I had a really great time speaking with them. Leslie Powers is also talking about music. Her presentation is also about music, which I didn't know, and it's just the way these things collide and clash together, and hopefully that I have faith that these presentations are going to complement one another, because I have no idea what she's going to say. She doesn't know what I'm going to say, but we're talking about a topic that's important to us. Derek Bartoluccelli, I want to also shout out personally. He has a channel. He has a page, a channel called Awaken Your Mind. Awaken Your Mind on YouTube is a he's got so much music out there, hip hop, conscious hip hop mixes. He's another music enthusiast. He's another lyricist like me. We have the same interests, and really, he reached out to me a while ago, so I want to thank him as well. He's a DJ in our culture, in the hip hop culture. So this is a musician as well. And then, of course, it all comes full circle because Leslie's presentation is about music. In particular, she's going to talk about its therapeutic power, the healing properties of music. It's a huge topic. So she's going to talk about the physical, psychological, and the spiritual benefits of it. And I hear that and I say that there's the trivium again. This is what it is, like mind, body, and spirit. Again, that's the trivium. It's so interesting because then when you look at the quadrivium is number, geometry, music, and astronomy, right? Of course, the trivium and quadrivium is the classical education system. And then music is right there. And I'm actually going to touch in the presentation on the music of the spheres, which is the work of Pythagoras on astronomy. I'm going to talk about that in my presentation, about the harmonies between the planets and how that is an octave there. There's an octave relationship between the planets. It's huge there. So it's not called the quadrivium, right? But there's a quadrivium theme here, and it just happens to be that 2 of the 12 presenters are going to talk about music. I'm not sure what everyone else is talking about. A few of them I know personally. I've met in Exton, Pennsylvania, which is very cool. So I like that we're coming together. I believe most, if not everyone, there is on the One Great Work Network. So there you go. You can find all of us there. And I've actually heard Chris Jansen talk about wanting to name this conference, the FUNL 4, to name it the Quadrivium. And it's just, I find it a wonder that it seems to converge on music, because Chris is a musician as well. It seems like everyone in the natural law community is a musician of some sort, or has some kind of intimate connection to music. But to me, it's really no wonder, and it's actually one of the points I'm making in my presentation that I'm going to give, is how music is so intimately connected to freedom. And you cannot be inspired to fight for something unless you have a soundtrack for it. This is the kind of connection, I call it the connection to nature's music. It is a natural rhythm, just like we have circadian rhythms and everything, but it's just our connection to timing. Everyone has this world is dominated by a separationist worldview, like this microphone is separate from me and all that. Of course, the other side to it, there's a whole harmonic worldview of resonance and the way everything is connected. There are relationships with everything, and if you want to be successful in life, you will need to have a rhythm. You will have to have the right timing. You cannot just ram your head through the wall, right? So Chris Jansen, I don't know too much about him personally, right? We don't have a deep personal connection, but I've been on a roundtable discussion with him. So I know what he's about, and I want to thank him for having me at the conference. I know about him, he's a carpenter as well. Now, I'm not a lifelong professional carpenter, but I do construction, right? So I see that, I'm like, aha, of course, musician, construction guy, no wonder there. Again, there are these convergences of paths, which I think is really cool. And it made me think that what we're trying to do here to bring freedom into the world, to bring freedom, care, opportunity, happiness, prosperity, all these things that we, whatever it is that your angle personally is, we all want the same general thing. It came to me that it's a work on 2 fronts, the way I see it. One is aspect of actually building something like a carpenter. It is a project, like building a house. It's very down to earth. You're starting from base materials, then we're gonna put together the ideas and the philosophy of symbiotic human interaction and of community building to create relationships that lead to an actual community that has the right principles under them, right? And then to get the infrastructure together now to work together and then create this amplifier, this resounding voice and influence that's going to affect the world at large and influence the world. And that's where the trivium comes in for me, because it's really like building a pyramid. It is that 1, 2, 3 process. We're building a structure here. It is the great work, the pyramid with the unfinished capstone, right? So whatever you want to call it, it's a body of something, and it's also a narrative, the way I see it. It has a beginning, middle, and an end, just like a story. We're telling the story of freedom, of a better way of life. We've already been inspired by it. We need to believe it now. We need to get it through to others and then make it real. It's a foundation. It has a foundation, a structure, and a goal. That is that third. That is that third corner. That third vertex on the triangle or pyramid. It's the goal that holds it all together. There's an upward motion to what we're trying to accomplish, and that's the trivium to me. That's the building part. Then this whole second front, the whole other side of this work we're trying to get done. It's the inspiration part. It's the part that's not so tangible. It's intangible. We need to make people feel something. We're all looking for it in the world. We're all out for a connection, but the world takes it away from us, the way it is constructed, the way it is influenced. And that's where the music comes in for me. And this is what art does. Art can reach the spirit in a way where it would not be otherwise possible. Like, even if the trivium was working perfectly and we got all our ducks in order and we're giving the perfect message, we've got the perfect presenter, there's no guarantee that it's going to resonate with people. There could be resistance, barriers, all sorts of variables that we don't take into account. We're not going to be successful just because we're right. That is most of the battle, of course. We need to be right, but this is where inspiration comes in, and that's where music comes in. How music can transcend all of these obstacles, because it doesn't even have to be the lyrics. It could be the music. It could be the spaces between words. It could be just the way you can just get a sense of who they are when you hear them on a song. Or really, music is the culmination of all these works of art, because yes, you can say the same thing about a painting or a sculpture, but the way music is different is it involves the element of time, and it also has an element of weight. You can feel music, like the sound waves actually interact with your internal makeup. But that's for my presentation. That's one of the main concepts that I want to get across. But you can feel the message immediately in a song, and that's what's important. And we need to make people understand the message, but also feel it. And that's the two-front war for me. So all in all, I say that to say I think that the tagline, inspiring care to action, I think it's a perfect motto for it. And that is what the 4th Freedom Under Natural Law Conference is to me. Now, last but not least, I also want to thank Will Keller. I've met Will in person outside in the Philadelphia area, and he's been kind of a powerhouse in this natural law community for years. We're a small community. We don't have that many presenters, producers, promoters, and then all the hands on deck that are just, helping. And since I discovered Mark Passio's work 5-6 years ago, this would be 2019, 2020, right around the time I started making music, Will Keller has always been there somewhere, contributing in the way that he is, whether it's with artwork or video production or co-creating this conference, right? So I want to extend my appreciation to all three of them. And now, the way I see my role in this, I want that time, that work, that effort to be rewarded. So that's why I'm going to attempt to contribute my absolute best to this conference. I think Funnel 4, we can do something special this year. So please join me Saturday and Sunday, February 22nd and 23rd. FreedomUnderNaturalLaw.com is the website. I'll be updating with more information as we get closer. And that's it. Thank you very much. Quick 15 minutes for you. It feels nice not to do an hour-long video, so thanks so much. And I'll see you soon.